How impressed are you with Leg's progression in stock cars after today's performance?
I'm loving every second of it. I was actually, I'm not going to say just as excited to talk about the race, but talk about like the result versus what she was able to accomplish. I mean, you love to see it, you really do, and she's truly a race car driver at heart. Oh my god, my hair looks terrible, guys. I'm sorry, I need a haircut. But no, she's an incredible talent. She is doing things in a live fast motorsports car that have never been done, and she has such limited experience. She's really come a long way since the first Phoenix race, I believe she did, when inevitably ended Suarez's day, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But to see her, this is, I believe, her second best NASCAR finish ever. I believe she had a better finish in the Xfinity Series in her opening debut. Correct me if I'm wrong about that, but back in like 2018, I think it was like JD Motorsports or something like that. She finished inside the top 20 as well. But you love to see it. You love to see history being made like we saw today, and just seeing Katherine Legge slowly become the new, I guess, woman face of NASCAR. Because it was Danica Patrick, and I mean, thankfully now it's Katherine Legge. That's a whole other conversation for another day. And I know we're giggling because we know what we've seen on social media, what we've seen on the broadcast for Sky Sports. It's a good thing that Katherine Legge has filled her role as the face of, I guess, women in NASCAR. So for her to be able to do this, and granted, I believe, was she the 21st driver ever to race in the Brickyard 400 and in the Indianapolis 500? I believe it was some stat like that. That's another thing we have to mention, how awesome that is. I mean, think about it. In the history of motorsport, history of NASCAR over 75 years, history of IndyCar even longer, right? And for them, or IndyCar car, all that stuff combined, right? And for there to only be 21 drivers to ever race in both the Brickyard 400 and the Indianapolis 500. And we saw her do that today. And for her to finish better in NASCAR in the Brickyard 400 than she did ever in the Indy 500 is actually kind of funny. I think she's a great IndyCar talent. She's great on endurance races, and I know she's won multiple races, if I'm not mistaken. I know she won an electric series race, I believe, many years ago as well. So she's more of a road course person. But to come in on an oval like this and be able to finish in the top 20 against some great NASCAR drivers is just, it's awesome to say. I enjoy it from not only writing about it perspective, which is a part of that in the gridnetworktv.com story you guys will be reading later, but also just in the sense from, I guess, a fan perspective to see a woman in NASCAR and not only be in the sport, right, but at the same time to finish in the top 20 and finish 17th in one of the most prestigious events of the year. You got to love it. That's how I'll end my long statement. Is you just got to love it.
I think that it's just fantastic that there is a certain subsect of NASCAR's fan base full of ding dongs, doofuses, and goofballs that are totally upset at the fact that not only Bubba Wallace won, but the fact that Katherine Legge came home with the top 20 and beat the likes of Chase Briscoe, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Josh Berry. So let me just get that out of the way first. I do find great joy in that. But just to speak on the merits of it itself, I mean, Katherine Legge was on the lead lap all day in a live fast car. I didn't think I'd ever see the day on a non-road course that would happen for anybody in that car, to be honest with you. And that's no disrespect to BJ McLeod. He was out there to just finish the race, not damage the equipment. Now, Legge, she obviously has had her struggles in her first little stint into NASCAR this year. Obviously, you look back to Phoenix and all of the backlash she received there when really the villain in that whole story was more so the sport itself and its rules and procedures for new drivers rather than the driver herself. Not allowing her to get adequately prepared for an event where, again, you only get 20 to 25 minutes of practice every week. So, yeah. I found that her speed today was actually quite impressive as well. Like, she looked pretty sporty out there at times, and it looked like she was actually making some passes towards the back end of the grid as the race kind of wore on. I feel like if they came back next year with the data they collected this year, they could actually compete and not like get a top 10 or anything like that. But I think that they could actually move up the grid a little bit in terms of their raw pace and, contend for like a top 20 on like sheer pace rather than like, we had a ton of cars today fall out because of that stage 2 restart that went really, really awry. So, yeah, I felt that what Katherine Legge was able to accomplish today is very, very impressive, especially in the equipment she's been given. I saw somebody on Blue Sky say something to the effect of, I find finishing top 20 in a live fast car to be more impressive than winning a race in a JGR or HMS car. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I did find it a pretty funny observation that I thought I'd share. But at the end of the day, yeah, Katherine Legge put in a fantastic performance today, and honestly, it's giving me a lot of hope for her potential in this series if she continues to, get at bats in the NASCAR Cup Series. I feel like for someone only in their 5th start, it seems like even in this not so great equipment, she's really logging in a lot of fantastic efforts and keeping the car mostly clean. And I feel like if her and Live Fast can kind of build off of that going forward, or her and another team can build on that going forward, I think that'd be really cool. Honestly, I didn't even think about this until literally just now, but like, what if she's been getting all these Live Fast reps because Dodge is trying to help her become one of their drivers for Cup when they move into the Cup Series in 27 or 28. I know she'll be a little long in the tooth compared to some of the rest of the drivers on the grid, but I don't know. Dodge looks like they're trying to make a big splash when they're coming into NASCAR, and having a very accomplished female driver as part of their lineup would be a really solid way to help pitch yourself.
That would be pretty big, of course. I personally think that could be really great to see Dodge make a statement like that we're going to have an accomplished female driver on one of our teams our first season back. In the chat room, Justin, what she's pulling out in the 78 car is insanely impressive. I've seen her race in person at Rockingham, and I'm so happy she's getting results to show her pace and progression. I mean, we've known for a long time how good of a racer she is. IndyCar, of course, when you're at Indianapolis Motor Speedway with Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan, and it's a year where Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan is struggling, you're not going to get a lot done. But what she was doing today, and especially running up in 2nd place, something else, Matthew.
Yeah, fun. I want to point out a fun fact. I was just messaging you guys in the group. She actually, although she's only done 5 races, so it's a small sample size, she actually averages almost double the amount of points earned per race than Cody Ware does, who's the only driver, or the first driver ahead of her in the standing. So Cody Ware has 22 races and 149 points, I believe. Yes, and she has 56 points in 5 races, which is a good for 11 per race versus Cody Ware's not 11 per race. So I think that it's actually a really cool thing just for her. And no offense to Rick Ware Racing Equipment, but and no offense to Live Fast Motorsports as well. But those two seem to be the most equal in the sense where just underfunded, right? At the end of the day, nothing against those guys and gals. They work their butts off, but the funding isn't really there. So for Katherine Legge to come into the sport with really not a lot of oval experience, more so road course, versus a guy like Cody Ware, who's been in the sport, seems like forever. And just for her to outperform him technically, it's just kind of a very interesting thing to say. And another one, I don't know where Hocevar, this is actually the first race, too, that Carson Hocevar has beaten Katherine Legge. So she's 4-1 against him right now. Because Hocevar's had terrible luck lately, too. But no, those are some fun facts for the viewers at home, just trying to add some more stuff to the conversation.